Yo, what's up guys? Before we start the video, I have a 0 cycle at the end if you want to see a showcase with premium teams, with a premium units and Hyacine, but the rest of this video is going to be free to play friendly. So stay tuned if you want, and if not, you should stay tuned anyways. What's going on everybody, and welcome back to another first impressions video for a brand new Amphorius character. Today we're going to be looking at Hyacine, the cotton candy Barbara XP, who really likes to play with bubbles and fat unicorns. Hyacine is a brand new remembrance healer because the remembrance path can truly be anything. Also, there's no camera in the bottom corner because I'm still traveling. But anyways, today I'm going to be going over everything that you need to know about this character and giving you my first impressions on her and what I think about her overall. With that said, this is in early access. It is a 3.3 creator experience server, meaning everything is technically subject to change, and hopefully that won't be the case, but it can happen. Either way, I can't wait to show you this character because she is a perfect synergy with so many units that we've gotten recently. And it's nice to have a healer that does something a little bit different. My name is Braxophone, but you can call me Brax, and let me tell you all about Hyacine. Now, before I show you how she actually works and what she does, I do need to go over her build that I'm running so you guys are completely clear on that. First off, we're going to be using a fully free-to-play accessible setup, save for Castris, because Castris is her dedicated teammate that I want to showcase to you guys today. But we're going to be using the Remembrance Light Cone from the HEALER shop. It's going to increase our speed by a fair bit, and that's important for Hyacine. As you can see, I have 208 speed. Wow. That's very fast. You might have just thought that just now. However, Hyacine is actually just a very fast character with things that are meant to make her even faster. For example, in her traces alone, she has up to 14 speed. And on top of that, she has a base speed of 110, putting her at 124, not accounting for speed boots, which would put her at 149 speed. And that's not accounting for any substats or set bonuses that you might see. Hyacine actually has her very own Relic set and planar set that are dedicated to her. There's a 2-piece that gives 6% speed and a 4-piece that's also going to give another 6% speed once you fulfill a certain requirement, which is healing allies via the wearer or the memo sprite. And also once you do that, you're going to give all of your allies a 15% crit damage buff, which is absolutely disgusting. And then for the planar set, you're getting a 6% speed buff and an outgoing healing bonus as a part of that. For the relics, we're going to be running that brand new set. Now, I know a lot of people don't want to farm it. I'll go over other options, but this really is the main one you want to be farming for. I went with an outgoing healing chest piece because that's going to increase the damage we do, because Hyacine is a damage dealer disguised as someone that's helping your team live. Speed boots, HP orb, and energy regen rope. We're going in with 0 Eidolons activated, and with all that being said, let me show you how she works. Now, in order to be as free-to-play friendly as possible, I'm using her dedicated teammate, which is Castris, just because that literally makes the most sense. But the supports we're going to be playing are free-to-play. It's going to be Pela and Trailblazer, and all of these characters are going to be on 4-star light cones. Hyacine has a technique you want to use before battle, and then we're just going to go in with Castris. We're going to blow all the load of the dragon because that's the optimal thing to do with Castris against this boss. Boom, blow him up, explode him, get rid of him, and then I can show you the light codes after we get our HP sucked. Okay, and just to prove it to you that this is a free-to-play friendly showcase, the free Remembrance Light Cone from the HEALER shop, 4-star Light Cone, Resolution shines as pearls of sweat, 4-star craftable light cone, victory in a blink, and then we're also using the standard 5-star Bailu light cone, which is something that free-to-play players can get via the in-game shop or via getting unlucky, which has happened to me 3 times on my free-to-play account. I'm going to try to give you a brief overview of what she does. She's honestly not that complex, but she does have a lot of text throughout her kit just because she has the extra memo sprite stuff. But essentially what it boils down to is Hyacine is a healer and Little Ika is a tactical nuke. Hyacine's skill will heal all of your allies a certain amount and also heal Little Ika a higher amount than your allies. And if Ika isn't out, it'll summon Little Ika. Her ultimate also summons Little Ika and also heals your team for slightly more and heals Little Ika for slightly more than it heals your team. But on top of that, you enter the after rain state. And this is where you're going to want to be for most of the battle if you can. Getting 100% uptime isn't always 100% possible because it reduces duration by 1 at the start of every turn. But you can have pretty high uptime, and in some cases you can have 100% just depending on how much damage you actually take, specifically for energy generation and all that. But the main thing that this ultimate does is it increases your max HP for all allies by 30% at talent level 10, which is absolutely disgusting. Oh, and plus an extra 600. So all HP scaling characters and all characters that gain damage based on HP or have some benefit for HP love to play with Hyacine. Now the goal is to heal as much as possible because that'll make you do more damage, and I'll talk about how to make that happen in just a moment. First off, you should know that Little Ika actually has has 50% of Hyacine's max HP, and whenever Hyacine or Little Ika provide healing, it increases Little Ika's damage by 80% for 2 turns, and that can stack up to 3 times for a total of 240% Little Ika damage bonus. So that's part of the reason you want to be healing, but the main reason you want to be healing is because Little Ika himself dishes out more damage based on the amount of healing that you've done. Little Ika will deal wind damage to all allies equal to 24% of the tally of healing done by Hyacine and Little Ika in the current battle. It includes 50% of the tally of healing every time this is used. So essentially, the more healing that you do, the more damage dealt by this fat fuck. Little Ika is interesting, basically has 0 speed, is immune to debuffs, and does not appear in the action order, so Little Ika isn't going to naturally take their own turns. Basically, if allies have their HP reduced, Little Ika, while on the field, will consume HP equal to 4% of their own max HP, and restore HP equal to Hyacine's max HP. Basically, Little Ika loses HP, everyone else gets HP, and it's based on Hyacine's max. But when Hyacine is an ultimate, Little Ika actually attacks with their AoE whenever Hyacine uses an ability. On top of that, Little Ika triggers their talent healing effect whenever this happens, so you're also getting extra healing from that. This little bit of text at the bottom, this doesn't really matter too much. It just makes it so that Little Ika will actually have buff timers go down every time they use an AoE like that, like they're taking a normal turn. The other nice thing is that you can actually get Hyacine's ult up immediately by using her skill, because when Little Ika is summoned, you're getting a bonus 30 energy for the first time in battle. You're probably not going to end up summoning Little Ika a second time because he's too large and in charge to be defeated. And then if Little Ika disappears for some reason, Hyacine gets a 30% action forward. But again, that's not going to happen because he can tank more HP and more hits than Mike Tyson. Lastly, there are some major traces that you should be aware of. Hyacine doesn't actually need to be built with any crit rate at all. The reason is that Hyacine and Little Ika get 100% crit rate by default, so the only bonus stats you need to worry about are crit damage, because they're always going to be critting when they attack. Also, whenever you heal an ally, Hyacine and Little Ika will get an outgoing healing bonus by 25% if that ally has less than 50% of their max HP. Or Hyacine's max HP specifically. Hyacine also gets 50% effect res by default, which is absolutely fantastic, and can dispel debuffs, meaning there's not going to be any weirdness where like, oh, you have to cleanse so Hyacine's useless. No, she can also cleanse. She's just that girl. She's her. And then as mentioned before, Hyacine is very, very fast. Whenever she gets over 200 speed, which should be your goal, she and Little Ika get 20% more max HP, and then for every 1 speed after that, you get a 1% healing bonus up to 200 extra speed. The technique we used at the start of battle restores HP equal to Hyacine's max HP and increases their max HP by 20% for 2 turns. So all in all, this character gives you a ton of max HP. She is very fast. She takes a lot of actions, and her fat friend will absolutely nuke the enemy. Her damage is very significant, and it's based on how much you heal, so you want to heal as much as possible, which is, ta-da, Caster's favorite thing. We love that. But the only thing left to do is show you. I mean, it's a lot of word vomit, but this character is so straightforward and so easy to use and works so dang well. Time to lock in. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off by summoning Mem. We're playing this like a normal Caster's team, except we just have her best partner ever. Now, I am using Pela here. I could use Ruan Mei, and technically it would still be free to play friendly since everyone gets a free Ruan Mei if they choose to get it, but I wanted this to be relatable to even the poor souls who did pick Locha because they didn't have any other options or because they are in love with Auto Apocalypse. So we're playing Pela here. We're just gonna go ahead and basic attack. Now, every time it's Hyacine's turn, you basically want to skill if you can, which works great in Caster's teams because there's not a lot of SP hungry characters there. So you can skill every single turn with Hyacine. This is going to immediately give her ult, and we're gonna use it as soon as possible. Little Ika is out, and we're gonna immediately ult, and Castor should get her ultimate as well. So we're gonna action forward Casterus. Little Ika's gonna nuke them for 114k. Honestly, kind of low, but that'll get higher, don't worry. Action forward Casterus, wait for Casterus' turn to start, and then we're gonna go ahead and use her dragon. Gonna go ahead and do the enhanced skill. The reason I did that, by the way, is just because it looks really cool, and like, look at this. Oh my god, it's so sick. Okay, anyways, we're gonna go ahead and blow them up. It's just less damage than you're going to see with Tribute, which is unfortunate, but it is a completely free-to-play accessible showcase, and that's really what I wanted to bring you guys today. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to ult with the Remembrance Trailblazer. We'll go ahead and basic attack with Pela and then ult right after. Boom. And we can start skilling with the Remembrance MC as well. Hyacine's going to come up. We're going to skill with her, and that's going to give us a ton of Caster's charge. Something actually interesting about Hyacine that I think you guys should be made aware of is that Casterus actually has a cap of about 4.8k per character that she can actually get charged for. Hyacine can step around that because she can heal every single ally on your team for lower than 4.8k, but since they're all getting healed and it's all for a pretty decent amount, you're bypassing the charge limit. So we're gonna go ahead and use her skill. Boom, insane amount of charge. And we're already at 88, 93%, 94, 100. Yeah, okay, we're already back. Let's do it again. Gonna go ahead and enhance skill just because it looks really cool. Boom. And this will blow up the Pollux boss real quick. Go down to 0%. Yup, he's coming back up. And we're going to have another Caster's ult here in a second. We're going to do this immediately to try and break through Pollux's defense. But it doesn't look like it's going to be a 0 cycle with the free-to-play setup. But, like, that's understandable. It's all, like, 4-star or free-to-play accessible light cones. I wouldn't really expect that to happen. Maybe. We're going to go ahead and skill with Hyacine when she comes up. We're going to also skill with Remembrance MC because we can. That's going to bring casters forward. Yeah, maybe we wanted to. I think this is still a 1 cycle, but as you can see, it's pretty straightforward. I want you to watch little Ika's damage when he gets to attack here next turn. It is really, just really ridiculous how much damage that unicorn does. That absolute fat. Watch this. Gonna heal everyone. My God, 252,000 damage. Are you kidding? Are you kidding? What happened to Aventurine, man? I miss that guy. I really miss that guy. I'm gonna go ahead and skill. We're gonna get her ult up again. Typically speaking, if you have her ult early, you want to, like, if you have her ult before her turn comes up, you want to wait till her turn starts, ult, and then skill. But since we had to do it to get her ult up, it is what it is. That's just something that you should think about. Just that way you don't waste any energy or anything like that. And you make sure you're optimizing her ult uptime. We're gonna go ahead and skill the hold skill with the dragon, blast this guy, and yeah, it was like pretty close to a 0 cycle. I'm fairly certain that you could 0 cycle with this, with a free-to-play setup or free-to-play accessible setup, but I think 1 cycle with a 4-star and the MC and just casters and a premium healer is pretty dang good. That fat Ika does so much damage. So I don't know if you guys noticed during that showcase, but the big difference with running Hyacine to any other healer was that she heals so much and so frequently. And with Ika's HP train, basically Castris is just getting fed so much energy. It is a ridiculous amount of charge that she's getting towards her dragon, which means that you get more frequent dragon uses with Hyacine. Now, I do want to quickly go over different light cones, relics, and the teams that you can run her in, just so that you guys can stay informed on everything, and then I'll give you guys my opinion on the character. But there is one really important thing that we have to talk about, and it's her signature light cone, which is absolutely absurd. So the Herta Shop light cone gives you 12% speed. This one gives you 18%. So it's a bonus 6% speed bonus, which is awesome. Also, this is so cute and so oversaturated. My eyes are bleeding from how absolutely adorable this is. But essentially it makes it so that whenever you use a basic attack, skill, or ultimate, it consumes all your allies' HP. Now, if you know what Little Ika does, Little Ika takes that personally and he heals you back. Essentially what that means is that you're getting a ton more healing out of this because it takes HP away from your allies. Now that might just seem like, oh, that's like a signature light cone effect. Okay, that's nothing crazy. But I need you to understand something. Here's a sheet showcasing 4 different light cone setups in a caster's team for Hyacine. Compared to the Herta Shop light cone, the free-to-play friendly one that she can take advantage of pretty dang well. If you get her signature light cone, you could be seeing between a 40 and 50% increase in overall damage in a caster's team specifically. That is a ridiculous amount of damage to increase. Now, the reason this happens is because you're just straight up getting more dragons from Castris. The light cone itself, because it's going to be giving you more HP lost and more healing, it's going to give Castris more charge, which means more frequent dragon uses, which means more explosions, more damage, and I mean, it's absolutely disgusting. It's also great for Mighty because it's going to give him more charge as well. If you are a Castris player, if that is your go-to character, if that's the team that you really want to build and you want to max out, this character is insane for her. But on top of that, the light cone is ridiculous and feels almost as important as getting the character for her. Now, Castris, in my opinion, is probably fine without Hyacine. Like, you're still able to clear all the content in a reasonable amount of time. Nobody's getting over 10 cycles with Castris and the right team setup. But if you want to go all out for your girl, if you want to upgrade her, this light cone is so much value for Castris teams specifically and for Mighty's teams, especially if you have our signature light cone, which would help drain more HP and give you more healing as well, helping giga boost all of Castris's dragons, specifically helping her get more of them. Oh, and also, I mean, it has more effects than I actually listed, but the main thing was the HP drain for Castris. This light cone is also going to allow your memo sprites to apply a damage vuln to enemies, so that's also pretty ridiculous. Now, you can also use Castris' light cone or a Gly's light cone if you just have happen to get like a copy of those on accident. But the Herta Shop Light Cone's going to be better than both of them for her, so I'd recommend just sticking with that if you don't have Hyacine signature. You absolutely don't need it, and this one is fine. We still need more Remembrance Light Cones before I can start suggesting 4 stars for everyone, because the 4 stars are just like, they're just significantly worse in a lot of cases. Now, as far as relics go, because I did want to go over these, there are a couple options that you have, but I really highly recommend farming Warrior Goddess of Sun and Thunder. This set is made for Hyacine. It is her signature. I've seen a lot of people saying they're not going to farm it, but guys, the 2-piece set is still a 6% speed buff, so it's a good 2-2 set to mix for supports, or if you just need to hit speed tuning thresholds, and the set is so good for her and all of her teams, with 15% crit damage on all of your allies, just basically for free because of how she works. It is amazing for her. You could technically go with outgoing healing bonus sets, you could go with HP percent sets, you could also go with just speed bonus sets, and that's all going to be okay, but Warrior Goddess of Sun and Thunder is just so ridiculously good for her. And then Giant Tree of Wrapped Brooding is going to be best in slot for Castress and Mighty teams, because this is going to affect your healing, affecting their stacks or energy. But for other teams, like if you're playing her with like Herta or Acheron, you can actually use things like Shaka or Broken Kill. Just any support set is going to be totally fine. You don't have to use Giant Tree of Wrapped Brooding for everything, but I would recommend it for Castress and Mighty. Otherwise, you can just use like any general buffer or support sets. Broken Kill she activates by default, so I'll go over Eidolons in a bit, but I also want to talk about her teammates, so 1 second. Hyacine, even though she does look like she's made specifically for HP scalers, and I mean, she is, she also works great with most teams in the game, actually. Now, the obvious choice is going to be to put Hyacine with a Castress team, and the premium Castress team uses Tribi instead of Pela, but as mentioned before, I wanted it to be a little bit more relatable, especially because a lot of people skip Tribi. But this team is absolutely disgusting, and I have a showcase at the end of the video with E0 S1 units. It was the easiest zero cycle of my entire life. This team is so ridiculously busted. Castress gained so much damage from Hyacine that it made all of the content in the game that was already easy with Castress just trivial. Like, I could probably do it in my sleep or by pressing random buttons. Now, other characters you can run instead of Castress would be characters like Mighty, who I've mentioned before. This is a character that really benefits from having higher HP, much like Castress, but Mighty likes it even more. Hyacine can give him an extra 30% HP, and I am going to talk about Eidolons in a moment, but I do want to mention that she does have an E1 that gives 50% more HP. That actually is additive, so you're getting up to 80% HP on all your allies, and with Mighty, that is a ridiculous bump in HP. And with all the healing and team self-damage that comes out with Hyacine, Mighty gets supercharged and can be way stronger. Now, if Blade gets buffed to do damage that is like recognizable on my screen, then he would also be a great pairing with Hyacine, and if you're still playing in Belobog, then he's great with Hyacine. But I'm really hoping that his buffs will make his damage numbers higher, so that way Hyacine can just be an insane character for him. And if we get any other HP scaling characters in the future, Hyacine will be amazing with them as well. But not only does she work with HP scaling characters, she also just works with everyone. The Herta and Anaxa are an awesome duo of characters that we started seeing in team play once Anaxa released, and the Herta benefits from having characters that generate a lot of energy. Hyacine, right off the bat, can generate extra energy just from Ika being summoned, and because Ika's going to be doing their own fair bit of attacks, you'll get a little bit more energy to Herta. Also, Ika's attacks are AoE, so that's pretty beneficial. But another reason that Hyacine benefits Herta is because Herta benefits Hyacine. Herta can give your entire team 80% crit damage, and on top of that, Anaxa can also give your team extra damage bonus. So with all these characters joined together, with Tribi getting the HP bonus from Hyacine and doing more damage herself, this team is ridiculously good, and we finally have a competitor for Linkshot in this team. Hyacine can also work great in an Acheron team if you have her signature light cone. I mean, she can work great in basically every single team as just a general healer and damage dealer, and the damage that you'll see from Hyacine will be higher than someone like Adventurine in this team, so it'd definitely be worth taking her over that. But in addition to that, if you use Hyacine with her signature light cone in an Acheron team, you can actually apply a debuff with your Memo Sprite. Memo Sprites can actually apply a debuff to the enemy that makes him take more damage for 2 turns, which means that Acheron can get even more stacks more quickly and more ultimates. If you have E2 Acheron and you play like Remembrance MC and Hyacine and you get 2 copies of Hyacine's light cone, then Remembrance MC can also apply a vulnerability to the enemy. So I'm gonna be honest, guys, this light cone seems kind of busted. If you can think of a damage dealer that wants to run a healer, Hyacine is great for them. And I would imagine that any other characters that want HP consumed or healed back, or any HP scaling characters are going to want this character. But because she's not only limited to HP scalers, that's what truly makes her so good in my opinion. So even though I was initially considering skipping Cotton Candy Barbara, it's getting very difficult to now. Now, before I wrap up and give you guys my final impressions of the character, I do want to go over her Eidolons really quickly, just so you guys kind of know what you're getting into. So if you're one of the unfortunate souls who plays HP scaling characters in 2025, you have a very expensive roster to build. Now, the good part is that even at E0, S0, Hyacine is incredibly good for all HP scaling characters, and also we know Blade is getting buffed, so you're not completely hopeless in that department either. But Hyacine's Eidolons, if you decide to swipe, can be very beneficial. In fact, E1 is absolutely disgusting for anything and everything HP scaling. Whenever Hyacine is using her ultimate, you actually get a bonus of 50% max HP to all of your allies, which makes her total HP bonus she gives 80%. On top of that, it restores HP equal to 8% of Hyacine's max HP whenever you use an attack. So this essentially is ridiculous for any characters that want to gain HP, because it's going to allow them to gain it more frequently. And on top of that, if they're doing damage based on their HP, they now have a higher pool to actually sap from. This could be better than S1 for some characters, but we'll have to wait and see what the buffs end up looking like for others before it ends up being clear. And E2 is almost as crazy as E1, because it makes it so that whenever any ally gets their HP decreased, that character's speed increases by 30% for 2 turns. Now, you guys know how Bronya has that E2 that increases your character that's buffed speed by like 30%? Well, as it turns out, this can affect your entire team at the same time. If your whole team takes damage, for example, the light cone that Hyacine has, her signature, the one that drains your entire party's HP, every character gets 30% speed, which means you don't need to run speed boots on any characters to get them to their speed thresholds, and you can even speed tune at much higher speeds. That is ridiculous. That is stupid. Playing her with Jingliu is like crazy. Sorry guys, had to get the Jingliu sneak in there. E1 and E2 are both ridiculous. Now, E3 is an ultimate and basic attack level up and a Memo Sprite skill level up. E4 makes it so that one of her traces gets enhanced. Basically, for every 1 speed that you exceed, you also get 2% crit damage. This is the 200 speed trace, where for every 1% you get outgoing healing bonus. Now you're also getting extra crit damage. This is not super necessary, but if for some reason you really liked Barbara's design in Genshin Impact, maybe this 5-star version is for you. Her skill and talent get 2 levels up at E5, and the Memo Sprite also gets 1 talent up. And E6 is, well, so you know how we didn't have Tribute? You don't need Tribute with this. You just get all type res pen by 20% with your allies when the Ika is up. So that fat is actually sharing some of the love, I guess. Also, your healing tally reduction gets significantly reduced from 50% down to 12%. So little Ika's just going to be doing a ridiculous amount of damage. This is insane. Her Hyacine's Eidolons are actually absurd, and I'm honestly a little upset about it. Like, if you guys want my honest opinion, I feel like it's too strong. I think Hyacine is a really good character by default, and you absolutely don't need her Eidolon. If you get her Eidolons and her light cone, you could probably play Casterus for the next like 6 patches of power creep. Not 6 patches, 6 versions of power creep. Like, this is pretty dang ridiculous how strong this character and her Eidolons are for HP scalers. But in my opinion, you definitely don't need them. I would say her light cone is more useful overall at the moment, but I don't think that's going to be the case forever, because some teams may actually value her Eidolons a little bit more based on that HP increase and based on that speed increase. Either way, guys, if you want my honest opinions on Hyacine, I think that she is a really good pickup for any account, but it's really hard to justify getting her when you have Finod coming up, you have Cypher coming up, and you have the 2 Fate characters coming out. Now, I don't know enough about Cypher to tell you if that's actually a good decision to make or not, but she is a cat girl, and I'm going to be pulling on her because she's hot. So I feel like that's a pretty good reason, and I think that most of you guys will probably agree. We don't know what the meta's going to look like in the future, but we do know there's a lot of really desirable Dude, this character uses her idol every 3 seconds. I'm just trying to... Anyways, I do think that if you're a newer player and you don't have a lot of healer options, she's probably the best pickup you can make right now as far as healers go. Her and Lingsha are both really good, but I think that she's more relevant to the newer meta stuff. And in a lot of cases, she beats out Lingsha, especially if you're in like an HP scaling team that it's just like a no-brainer. But as far as light cones and Eidolons go, it is going to be a little bit spendier to reach and get those, especially if you're like saving up for other characters. So don't feel pressured to do that. Hyacine can do the job for Casterus without her light cone. It's just her light cone will be a ridiculous increase, but you don't need it. You absolutely don't. Anyways, as mentioned before, I'm still on vacation, so I'll try to get other videos out to you guys, but I'm gonna go get a boba tea or something. 07 soldiers. Oh, and let me know if you're pulling for this fat fuck.